Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Art of Senior Fitness Program Design. I am here with Savannah, one of our StrongerU Senior Fitness Student Sponsorship students. You can say hi to everyone, Savannah.
Hello.
Awesome. And just before we officially get started, I'm going to check and make sure that you can hear us both. And oh, they can hear us in the background. That's a good sign. Perfect. You can hear me and Savannah. That means we are working and we will get to it here. So we should be having Talis Arini join us as well. So hopefully she'll be here in just a couple of minutes. But if not, Savannah and I are going to chit chat and tell you about the Stronger You student sponsorship program. And just to start by giving you all a little bit of a background about the program, I think I've told this story about myself about a million times how I went into my kinesiology degree wanting to become a dentist, and it was an experience with older adults that made me totally change my career path and know that for sure I had to work with older adults. That was my calling. And so when I created Stronger You Senior Fitness, I knew that I wanted to have something that helped students realize the same thing. I find there's way too many students in kinesiology, physical literacy, therapeutic recreation who just don't know about the benefits of working with older adults. And so this is a way to give them experience that's going to help them get a job, as well as to see, hey, is this the right fit for me? So, Savannah, we want to know all about your experience. Why don't you start by just telling us a little bit about you and your background and just everything to do with Savannah?
Okay. So my name is Savannah, obviously. I'm a student at MRU. So I'm going into my third year. I'm taking a bachelor in health and physical education with a major in physical literacy. So it's kind of like kinesiology, if you don't really know what that is. And then basically, I was born and raised in Calgary, and that's also where MRU is located, if you didn't know. Basically, my background in fitness is kind of all over the place. I grew up like sports every weekend, every school activity. And then I kind of started coaching after a couple injuries. So I coached little kids for 6, 7 years. And then I started being a personal aid for some kids with disabilities and started kind of going down that path, and didn't really even think about fitness with older adults.
Mhm.
I'm really close to my grandparents and those kind of things, and I see them 4 or 5 times a week, but I never thought like maybe this is something I want to explore. So my experience with older adults was pretty slim to none in the fitness industry. Um, but yeah, like my coaching experience and being super involved in fitness was um, pretty vast. So yeah, Stronger You definitely took me out of my comfort zone a bit, and took me down a different path, and I'm definitely enjoying it a lot. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. And so when you first initially applied at Mount Royal University for the physical literacy program, where did you think you were going to end up in terms of a career? Did you think you were going to continue to work with children?
So basically, like I had when I was applying for university in high school, like picking what I wanted to do, I was playing like Team Alberta Ringette. I was playing obviously high level sports, and I definitely thought I wanted to be an athletic therapist. Like I was like, I want to work with athletes. That's all I want to do. I don't want to work with anyone that's not athletic. I was like, I don't want to be a physical um, therapist working with old people. I literally said that to my mom
Yeah.
multiple times. I just want to work with the athletic population because that's me. And then had multiple concussions and was sports was definitely out of the question. And as soon as that happened, I was like, maybe I want to try something totally different. And so I withdrew my application to the athletic therapy program and applied to physical literacy so I could see what else was out there. And that's kind of how I found the path with um, children, and then yeah, then obviously seniors as well.
Okay, very good. And before you saw the Stronger You Senior Fitness student sponsorship, had you been working with seniors? I know you said you worked with kids with disabilities, but did you have any experience with older adults and working with them?
So basically, like just with my grandparents, like we're super close and they obviously live in Calgary, but I never had any experience with senior fitness. I had taken my grandma like to do stuff at the gym and that kind of like but nothing with experience, like real experience kind of thing.
Yeah, just with your family.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And so, what was the draw? You see the posting at Mount Royal University for the Stronger U student sponsorship saying that, hey, if you apply, you can get free access to the Stronger U senior fitness course. And then in exchange, you're going to teach for 6 months at the Good Companions Club in Calgary. So, what about that made you think, oh gosh, I have to apply for this?
Basically, like I had seen the posting, and that's how I like found the children with disabilities thing too. Like it was just a post. I had no experience, and I was like, maybe this is like something I should explore because I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then I also saw that it was pre-choreographed, and I was like, okay, at least I'm not like totally on my own. I have someone that can definitely tell me what to do. I have something I can follow. I don't have to make it up. I don't have to improvise. And so I think that's what ultimately led me to apply was the fact that it was pre-choreographed and that it was also online. So I didn't have to take a weekend off work or take a weekend here or to do a course in person. And so I think my pull was definitely push me out of my comfort zone, try something new, and the fact that I wasn't going to be completely stranded and on my own. And then I also not only got the certification, but then got the experience after. Like I got to go do the 50 plus club. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was what it was.
Okay, great. And you mentioned like that's how you got into working with kids with disabilities. And that was very similar to me. I was sitting in my class back in kinesiology, and someone comes into our classroom and talks to us about a chronic disease management program. And same thing, I don't know what possessed me to think, oh, that sounds like a good opportunity. Because again, didn't want to go down that route. Similar to you, didn't want to work with older adults whatsoever, wanted to be a dentist. So maybe I'd be, work with older adults in that capacity. But, there was some kind of pull, which it sounds like you had that pull as well, where you see this posting and you just have kind of feeling like, maybe this is something that I need to look at. And I'm glad that you appreciate kind of all those aspects of the Stronger You course, being online, the fact that you're not alone. We're going to bridge that gap between teaching you what you need to know, but then also giving you the choreography to teach afterwards as well. Okay, great. And so when you got through the course, what was your favorite part about the actual online course itself, that aspect of the program?
Like what component of it or just in general, the
Yeah,
online?
in general, or if there's a specific component that you really liked.
I think, and I've told you this before, but like, well, one, just the fact that it was online because rarely do you see things that
Mm-hmm.
are as in depth as Stronger You was. Um, and online, like there's a lot of like fluff programs,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say,
Yeah,
that
more
like don't really
continuing education than,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
than
And like you're
courses.
expected to
Yeah,
know the beginning part.
yeah.
And I mean, in my degree, I had to take human anatomy and those kind of things,
Mm-hmm.
but having that embedded in the course was definitely a nice refresher. And also for people who don't know, like it was good that it was in there. And then I also just like the fact that it was online because it's super hard to find time, especially like as me, like a full-time student. I have two jobs. I volunteer. Like it's hard to find time to do a 3-day course, which
Mm-hmm.
is, and it makes it more accessible to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having it online and having it in depth was my favorite part.
Yeah, awesome. Great points. And so this is where I was going to ask Talis to give her perspective. So I'll share this perspective with the audience that so Talis was our very first Stronger You Senior Fitness student sponsorship recipient, also from Mount Royal University. And she was teaching live at Good Companions 50 Plus Club first. And then, of course, when March hit and everything closed down due to COVID, she made the transition online, which is great because at first I had sort of thought, okay, we're going to just pause and wait this thing out. Hopefully, it doesn't last too long. But she was great right away. She went into teaching online. And then you and Natalie, so Natalie is with Savannah also doing the placement from Mount Royal University. You guys continued it on for the class online. So how has it been teaching online?
I think I've never had experience online. Obviously, I don't think many people have
No.
before this. Um, I think the only like big difference to me is the fact that like you don't get to feed as much off of the crowd, the
Mm-hmm.
people you're teaching's energy, and you
Yep.
don't get to make like that close connection
Mm-hmm.
kind of with the participants because they log on right at the time class starts, and then as soon as class ends, I say okay bye, and
Yeah.
we close the meeting off. Um, but in saying that, I think like we've had anywhere from like 10 to 18 participants
Mm-hmm.
every time, and it seems to be going up every class we teach, there's more people.
Yeah.
And I think most people with like exercise, there's like a confidence barrier,
Mhm.
and maybe you don't want to go and work out or do something that maybe you're not super comfortable with in front of a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And so I think the online aspect actually gives people a little bit of comfort knowing if they want,
Mhm.
they can turn off their camera. They don't have to have people watching. They're in the comfort of their own home. Like they don't have to feel worried about what they're wearing, what they're, if they can't do the movement fully. And I think, yeah, like that part of the experience has been really cool because I think it's really made people come out of their comfort zone a little bit and try
Yeah.
something that maybe they wouldn't have if it was in person or at a gym or something more intimidating.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail right on the head with that because when Talis was first teaching at Good Companions, the group was between, I would say, 4 to 8 of regular participants, and we would have some people drop in. But since moving to online, the program has actually grown, and I think you were very right. It's the accessibility of I don't really want to show up to a fitness class. What if I look silly? What if I can't keep up? That takes a lot of nerve to do that if you're not an exerciser. But to know, hey, I can just click on this link. I might have my camera on, I might not have my camera on, and I can still get physically fit. I think we're totally seeing that in the increase of the class now that it's gone virtual.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think word's spreading more and it's more accessible for everyone. You don't have
Yeah.
to drive anywhere.
Yeah, and I think there is a bit of a misconception that older adults it's hard for them to access fitness classes online. I've talked to quite a few individuals who run community centers or senior programs, and they've just been doing nothing really this last 5-6 months now that COVID's has so many restrictions. And so, what has your feelings been about the ability for older adults to access the technology?
I think we underestimate them, honestly. Like I think everyone thinks like, oh, they won't be able to figure it out or it'll be just be too complicated, it'll be frustrating.
Hmm.
And I think that is maybe true for the very first time you try it, or maybe you need some guidance.
Hmm.
But I know that like the club I'm working for right now has programs every single day, sometimes twice a day. They're all online and they have people coming every day. Like there's nothing, people are sitting at home, they want to do something. And I think this is, I mean, the best you're going to get
Hmm.
um, given the circumstances. So I think, yeah, like as long as we give out the support that's needed, maybe like a troubleshooting guide
Hmm.
or step by step, maybe even like photos.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as complicated as people think it is. And I think
Hmm.
that's the issue right now.
Yeah. And then on the instructor side, how has been the experience been figuring out the technology and teaching? I think some people are intimidated on that side. It's, maybe they're using the excuse that, oh, my older adults won't be able to handle it, even though, you just click a Zoom link and it's pretty straightforward. Maybe the real thing is that they're afraid of doing it. So what's been your experience?
I think if anything, the very first time is the most scary.
Yeah.
And I know I was definitely sweating a little bit the first time. Like I really hope everything works. I hope people can hear me.
Yeah.
Um, but I think as long as you go on early, like my advice is log on early, try everything out, play with all the buttons.
Yeah.
Um, and it'll be fine. Like it was way, 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 way better than I thought it was gonna be. And honestly, it's not that complicated. Everything's pretty self-explanatory. And there's so many things out there that can help you, like
Yeah.
YouTube videos or
Hmm.
other things. You obviously gave us troubleshooting guides as StrongerU teachers, but I think there's so many things that can help you through that kind of first time. And then once you get past that, it's smooth sailing from there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I would totally agree with you. Even for myself, when I had trained all of you, both the Lethbridge College group and the Mount Royal University students on, okay, how are we going to teach virtually? I had to kind of go figure that one myself. And there was a few things where I'm like, okay, I can't quite get this to work. They can hear the music, but now I can't hear the music. And you can turn to so many resources. Now there's so many videos on YouTube. If anyone's watching today, I just got access to another new YouTube video that I'd be happy to send you. So feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at Emily at StrongerUSeniorFitness.com, or you can message through LinkedIn or Facebook, and I'll get you that video. But for me, I actually went to different Facebook groups that I'm a part of, whether it's recreation therapy groups or if it's fitness groups. So I would definitely say if you're not part of those groups yet, join those groups, and the people there are so giving when it comes to advice. And they'll just kind of tell you what's worked for them and give you a whole different options. I know when I first did some research, people were talking about, soundboards and microphones and connectors, and it doesn't need to be that easy. For Savannah, Natalie, and I, and most of our students, we just use our computers. We've got the music through the computer. We just share it through the computer. There's no microphones. Sometimes it's just a speaker so you can hear the music, but for the most part, it's a pretty easy setup, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, it sounds way more intimidating than it is. It's really pretty simple. Once you do it once, it's just like putting butter on bread.
I love that. Awesome. And so, what have you felt the benefits of being involved with the program so far? You've been teaching now since July, since the beginning of July. Where do you feel like you're growing as a student, or what have been the benefits to you?
I think like mostly it's just definitely taken me out of my comfort zone and allowed me to learn a lot um, that you don't get to learn in a classroom. Like I took a older adults and physical activity class,
Mhm.
and you look at exercises and stuff on a piece of paper, and it's a lot different teaching and like bringing the energy to the class and feeling comfortable
Mhm.
doing it alongside older adults. And I think it was a big learning curve for me teaching in a class. I always taught like team kind of one-on-one,
Mhm.
talking to people about things I have really in-depth knowledge about. And so this was definitely a big jump for me. And once I got over the first tracks and learning how to do it,
Mhm.
it's definitely allowed me to like grow a lot as a instructor or as a coach.
Mhm.
And then also like the opportunity to connect with other agencies and stuff that I wouldn't have, like there I would never know you, I would never know the club that I'm working for. So it's definitely allowed my social network to grow a bit too. And I
Mhm.
think that's probably one of the biggest takeaways that I'll get from this is the connections that I'll make and the people that I'll meet, whether that's participants or agencies.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
always very honest with people who we have. Sometimes we put the applications out there and people will ask questions like, what is the commitment? How many hours does the course take? How much is the learning? And I'm always honest that this is not just a free course and you're going to go on your merry way. Like there is work involved. So, it needs to be someone who's ready to do that. You do have to go through the online course. You do have to learn your choreography. You are going to teach a class weekly for 6 months. It is a bit of a big commitment, but the hope is that in exchange for that big commitment, you're also getting this big payoff in terms of the knowledge, what you're going to be able to put on your resume as experience. And then to your point, just from what I've been able to get to know you, I'll be able to sing your praises. When you've got a job interview or need a reference, same thing with Shauna at the Good Companions 50 Plus Club. We're going to be definitely going to bat for you. So it is a way for you to gain experience and gain references. It seems like nowadays every job posting wants must have experience and prior people to give a professional reference, and it's really hard to get these things unless you volunteer or do a placement or something like this.
And I think you nailed it when you said like must have experience, because on no job almost right now you can get with with nothing. And so this is definitely like a great opportunity for students to get experience without having prior experience, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
really good first learning experience too. Like it's in depth and you learn lots.
Yeah, very good. And then on the participant side, what benefits are you seeing for the participants involved?
I think my answer would be different from Talis's or someone
Okay.
who teaches in person, because obviously right now we're in a time that no one's had to
Mm-hmm.
experience before. And I think the most important part is that people have a chance to move
Mm-hmm.
at home and do something that's good for their bodies without being in person. And like right now, obviously that's super hard, and gyms and stuff are opening, but it's also if you feel comfortable and all those kind of things. And I think this was a really good opportunity for participants to try something, maybe try something new if they haven't tried before, and yeah, feel comfortable while doing it, and then also hopefully have the physical benefits or the mental benefits
Mm-hmm.
that come along with doing it. I know I even feel happier after I teach, and I mean, that's what physical activity does for you, right? You always feel better after, even if you don't want to do it before you
Yeah.
start. So I think that's a, yeah, I think that's a super good benefit for the participants, especially that there isn't very many options right now. So
Yeah, and you said, clubs are starting to open, but what they're seeing specifically at Good Companions, and I'm sure at many other places, is that, hey, we're open, come on back in. And the participants are saying, oh, well, I'd really rather stay at home right now. So if you can continue to offer this class virtually, we'd really rather stay virtual. So even as we start to see facilities and community centers open, virtual is here to stay. It's not one of these things where you can just say, oh, I'll wait for it to be, over, wait till the club opens back up. You really do have to get on this virtual bandwagon to benefit your participants or members.
yeah, yeah, that's for sure. It's definitely not going anywhere soon. And yeah, even if it does go, maybe people feel more comfortable online now or feel more safe in their homes. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely have to adapt to that.
Okay, great. And you're in your third year now, so having all these different experiences, learning new things, are you thinking after graduation in terms of what you want to do?
I still don't know. I was
Okay.
just looking at master's programs and those kind of things the other day, and I think there's so many options. It's a little bit overwhelming,
Yeah.
but I definitely know that I think I'm going to want to go into something like occupational therapy and then specialize to a specific age group, whether that's going to be children or older adults. I don't know yet. And I never thought I'd say that because I was pretty set on athletes. And then I thought I was pretty set on children. And now I don't know where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So hopefully I know soon. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where my head's at right now.
Yeah. You know what? I went through exactly the same thing. It was dentist really up until third year. And then after 3 years of working with older adults, it was, wow, I've really gained a lot of experience here. I probably shouldn't just throw all this experience away and continue to pursue dental. And I had so many great mentors, one of them being a physiotherapist. So I thought, okay, instead I'm gonna pivot to physiotherapy. And then ultimately actually stumbled upon senior living. And I thought, oh, this is the job. This looks just right. And that did not come until, maybe even 2 months before graduation. So you've got time to figure it out. And any other student who's watching, you've got time to figure it out. But I've talked about this on previous episodes. Get out there, try things, get and gain skills, because you really don't know what you want to do unless you try it. And you would hate to kind of go down a road for many, many more years of school and then get into a career and think, oh, geez, this is not exactly what I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even when I signed up for this, I thought Wednesdays when I teach, I was like, oh, I'm gonna dread Wednesdays because I had no idea what I was doing. It was not something I was comfortable with. And now, I mean, Wednesdays are a day I look forward to. So it
Yeah.
definitely, I mean, you never know until you try, right? So,
Yeah.
and even if you walked out of this experience, you were like, nope, that was not for me, then at
Yeah.
least you know, because how do you know if you never try? So
Yeah, great point. You at least you can check that off the box. Okay, that's an X. That's not something I want to do. I have experience in it. Should a job come up and I just need to get a job somewhere, great. But as a long-term career, no, maybe it's not something I want to do. Awesome. And what would you say to someone who's thinking about applying for the Stronger U student sponsorship, or someone who's thinking about just taking the course just on their own?
I think I would say don't be nervous. I think a lot of online courses, you get the impression that you're pretty much on your own and that you're just, going to be on your computer with no support. And if you don't understand something, then there's no one to ask. And that's definitely not how Stronger U worked.
Mhm.
I would say like it's definitely you have full support, especially from Emily and also the other instructors.
Mhm.
And I think it's definitely a safe space to try something and gain experience in something that maybe you have never tried before. So yeah, I think my only piece of advice would be don't be nervous and just try it. And there's lots of people to help you along the way.
Yeah. And even from a cross Canada perspective, so when you guys were getting through to your practical videos, we did a cross Canada practice. We do these from time to time where everyone who's working on their videos can get together and do their classes. And then we've got the Facebook group. So, you do have an opportunity to connect with other people and ask them for help or work on things together. Like you said, I'm totally available for support. I do get that sometimes people reach out and say, oh, I prefer in-person classes. And I always say, this is kind of the best of both worlds where you're going to get to do it at your own pace, let the knowledge sink in, but then afterwards, you do get that ongoing support of new choreography. You can have personal live support from, me and other individuals as well. So I would totally agree with you. If someone's not kind of on the fence, just do it, take a chance and join our community.
Yeah. yeah, it's definitely not intimidating as like you think it's going to be. It definitely, there's lots of people to help you kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much, Savannah, for telling us about your experience. Before we sign off, I'll just give everyone an update on the StrongerU Senior Fitness Student Sponsorship Program. So initially, we had started with just Mount Royal University in Calgary, and then we expanded to Lethbridge College. And now, just recently, we've added on the University of Victoria and the University of Windsor. So we've got 4 schools now who are involved. And if there's anyone watching today and you want your school to be added to the list, just head to strongeruseniorfitness.com and there is an area to say, hey, I'm a student, or hey, I'm an educational organization and I want this program to come to my school. We can look at adding you in for the next round. And so we will have 8 new students starting for the next round come July sorry, come January, and it'll be really great. So you're part of our history, Savannah.
Yeah, I was one of the originals.
You're one of the originals. Awesome. The guinea pigs of the early days that we're still trying to get it right. It's too bad Talis can join us today. Talis is the original guinea pig. We made a lot of changes of the program based on her feedback, and then same thing with the 4 of you currently in the program, making changes for the next group. So we always, in addition to just wanting to give students that experience, we want their feedback on how can we make this better for the next group that's going to come after you as well. Very good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Savannah. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I don't have a slide today with my email, but you can reach me at emily@strongeruseniorfitness.com, or you can also reach me on the StrongerU Senior Fitness LinkedIn and Facebook pages. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Savannah, for joining me today.
Hi.